Hey guys, it's TurboTony here, and I just wanted to talk a little bit at the moment. It's been something that's going on in my head for a little while about what's going on with downloadable content, and how it's changed the industry of gaming, and how really it kind of started off for the better, but now it's sort of turning out for the worse. I did this over a little bit of Sniper Elite V2 gameplay. It's the demo, which you can download now and play. It's alright, it's pretty good. It's got some pretty cool, mechanics, X-ray stuff, and gooiness, and brains, and lungs, and yeah. If you like all that, then you might like this game. But yeah, like I said, I wanted to talk about DLC and how recently it's been starting to really piss me off in regards to I had some really decent games that have come out recently. I had Mass Effect 3, which is kind of going to get the brunt of my hate with this, but first of all, before I start, don't get me wrong, I love DLC and the basis and the premise of it. If you really get into a game and you feel like you want more of it, a couple of months down the line they'll add in like an extra gameplay section or extra online modes, or just things that enhance the original product. Okay, that at the end of the day you could play the original game quite comfortably, quite well without the DLC. Now, I know I'm probably getting a little bit confusing here, but you should be able to play the marketed game, the game without any DLC, to its full potential, so that you shouldn't have to buy DLC to make it work, or then feasible to its story or to future gameplay sections. Now, what I mean by that is feasible to the story. This is where Mass Effect comes in. Mass Effect released Day 1 DLC called From Ashes. Day 1 DLC. That was, as I've heard from some people, that was actually locked on the disc. Now, this is completely wrong. This is a prime example of why DLC should not be used in that fashion. It's a bit of a FU to the fans and the people who bought the game. When you buy the full game, you're buying the full game as it's been made at that time, and if, let's say that there was some content that was a week behind, they should push forward that the release date to include that, and not add that DLC even that close to the release date, let alone Day 1 DLC. So, at the end of the day, that is just crazy, Day 1 DLC. That should have been on the disc. That should be, at very least, if it was going to be downloadable content, it should be free, not 800 points. Now, some companies that I've looked at have used the workaround of you could use, these are DLC that if you would have bought the collector's edition or the special editions or whatever crap they want to call it, then you'd get the DLC tacked on, and that's part of it. That's fine. DLC for collector's editions and special editions is fine. You can do that. You can add in maybe a few costumes, maybe an extra gun here and there, whatever. But you can't make it then relevant to the story or relevant to possible gameplay. You just can't do that, because then you're saying that the actual gaming price of it would have been 100, 120, whatever you want to pay for these extra collector's editions. That's the real version. The actual version of the game that you're buying, that would have been £50 or whatever, €50, isn't the full part of the game, which is stupid, really, But I mean, regardless, DLCs end up moving into a dangerous path of some games are even having it now that you'll have not just extended parts of the ending, but actual endings of the game are being DLC. Like, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that something's wrong with that. And you just can't have that. If you're buying a game, you want a satisfying, conclusive ending. You do not want to be able to... That's the worst thing. Imagine what happened in a big action movie, right? Or a big, epic book. Let's say Lord of the Rings, right? They get up to the gates of Mordor, the battle, they're in the fires of Mordor, about to throw the ring in, and they say, no, you don't get the ending. You have to pay extra to see the ending. That's just how we're going to do it. That is ridiculous. Crazy almost. But not as crazy as us falling for it. At the end of the day, this has been something that's been going on for a long time. Yes, Day 1 DLC is stupid. DLC that is the end of the game is stupid. Hell, Resident Evil added multiplayer versus mode at a later date as DLC, which is just crazy. Anyway, it's stupid that they're doing it. It's even more stupid that we're letting them do it. Modern Warfare are charging and have charged stupid amounts. I've never bought any Call of Duty DLC because it's ridiculous. The amount you pay for it is just not worth it. And the stupid thing is, they can charge ridiculous amounts for their DLC because they know people will buy it. They know people will pay that for it. And that's exactly their train of thought. That hey, we can make them. It doesn't matter how much you charge for it. Some bozo's going to buy it, and they will. And that's the problem now. I mean, a lot of people are calling this, you know, the battle codes and all this other stuff is an attack on the second games market. This new version of DLC is an attack on the new games market. You know what I mean? The new games market. That if you buy a game, you may not be getting all of that game in it. And that's just the way that DLC is going nowadays. Now, like I said, I do like DLC. Some games have done it right. Fallout, I thought was great, adding extra gameplay sections at the end that didn't discount the ending of the game or the overall part of the game. Borderlands did it very well. Another thing, actually, I wanted to just bring up as well is that the whole DLC things is leading on to, you'll see a lot of games now adding in their ultimate editions, like Resident Evil brought out a gold edition, or Homefront's bringing out a ultimate edition, or which basically adds all their DLC in. What that basically is then is a big FU to all the people that bought the DLC at full price and the retail game. Because the majority of the times, these Ultimate Editions or these Gold Editions are cheaper than the original retail game was. This is without the DLC added on. So that means that people that go passionate into the franchise or the series or the game, whatever, and really wanted more DLC out of it, in the long run are kind of getting slapped in the face as well. So the people that are paying the ridiculous amount of money to get the DLC are being you kind of catch what I'm getting here, that no one's really winning apart from the way that the system is going nowadays. And it's not just one or two companies. I don't know, EA are horrible for it, but it's other companies as well which are starting to jump on the bandwagon because economically it's better for them to do so. So if you buy, let's say, £50 or euros on a game, or dollars, whatever, on a game, you're not getting the whole experience, and then they can tack on an extra 10 euros, dollars, whatever, at the end, and you've got to think that that's then boosting their sales by a good 20% if they're doing it that way, and it's easy, and people are falling for it. So that was like my little rant really on DLC and the way things are going. I hope that it doesn't get worse as it goes on, but I can only see it getting worse because, let's face it, that people are buying the DLC. There's not much you can do with it. If you want a funny sort of look on DLC, I would recommend the indie game DLC Quest, which is quite funny in itself. But yeah, leave your comments on what you think downloadable content is going to be like, and what it should be. And if you're pissed off with any games that are doing the same thing. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, I'd really like a like or a subscribe, and I'll talk to you later.